see me and hear me well. Okay, if you don't mind, please just type your answer in the chat box so I can see it. All right. Now, to begin with, let me introduce myself. My name is Anna, and I am the manager of the Learning Office, and I am also helping you in the support area of isEazy Author. Today, we'll be talking about how to translate your courses easily with isEazy Author, as you know. We'll be talking about the benefits of translating your e-learning courses and the features isEazy Author has to do that and how to use them. And also, we're going to give you some recommendations and tips to optimize your translation process. And of course, there's a moment when I'll be answering your questions, whatever questions you have during our webinar. Please save them till the end so that we can share them, all right? Anyway, let's get started. I think you can already see the presentation there on your screens. In any case, the thing is, why would you translate your courses? Basically, you want to broaden the scope of your courses. I mean, with more languages, you can have more participants. And if you are selling your courses somewhere, of course, your reach can be much bigger, right? If you're interested in expanding your market and reaching um, possible customers worldwide, that would be the way, translating your courses so that anyone can have access to them. Of course, if you are part of the learning and training department of a large company which has maybe a workforce across the globe, of course, you would need to translate your courses as well, right? And in any case, of course, nowadays, many of us already speak English or maybe Spanish, and we might think that having our courses in only one of these languages would be good enough. But of course, making sure your contents are available in everybody's mother tongue is going to make you look more accessible, worried, and committed about your staff, for example. And definitely, depending on the type of content your course is about, imagine it is on labor risks. You want to make sure whoever is reading it is understanding it fully. So, again, that's another reason for your courses to be translated. Definitely, you want to remove any kind of barrier and make sure your contents are not obscure, and you make it easy for your participants, for your students to take in everything you want to share. Definitely, that's another reason. And of course, by doing so, what you're doing is building loyalty. Because when you decide to translate a course into several languages, you are showing interest and you are highlighting the importance of other languages and cultures. It can be very welcoming, right? Like winking somehow at your participants, at your audience. In any case, this is going to make your brand, your company, look good. It's going to strengthen your presence wherever you are internationally. And of course, your staff is going to feel more confident, more satisfied, and ultimately, the results of the organization are going to be better. Okay, so there's that. In any case, the thing is that okay, you want to have your project translated into several languages. So, how could you do that? How could you have them translated without having to re edit them all over again or starting a copy of your project from scratch and editing slide by slide until you get them, the same as twin of your original projects? Well, the idea is we can help you with the translation features we've got. At the moment, if you have an enterprise plan, you already have the feature of translate texts, but there's also the automatic translation option in the advanced options. These are in beta versions. So if you're interested in trying it, you should let us know, by the way. It's a very fresh and recent release that I'm going to be talking to you about. Quite a lifesaver, to be honest. And so let me just talk to you about the whole thing. So the first option is translate texts in advanced options. Basically, you have to take two steps. The first one is to export your project as an HTML file, and that's the content you will translate. Once it's translated, sorry, um, you're going to import it back again into your isEazy account, and then a copy will be created with the translated project. If you've never seen what I'm talking about, we will in a minute, don't worry. Now the question in this case is, okay, so I'll export my project and then import it back again, but how are those translations made? You can use CAD tools to help you out. We've tested that many of them, like the ones we are showing you here, SmartCAD or SDL Trados, can help you with it. I mean, they're not going to change anything in the HTML file that is not the actual content to be translated. So it's going to work perfectly well. Another thing you might do is just send your file to a professional translator or agency. Of course, you can also use Google Translate on your own, and this is the option I'm going to show you now live for you to understand the whole process. So basically, when you are in your account and you have, for example, say this project to be translated, what you'll do is you'll click there on the project. Let me just enlarge this a little bit for you to see it well. There we go. Now it's better, right? So basically, once you're in your project to be translated with your sections, let me show it's got a little bit of content. Okay, this is my sample. What you'll do is you go to advanced options and then to translate texts. And so what you want to do is export your project as an HTML file. So you'll click here and export. You'll see the spinner going. It's going to take no time. Then you'll download this as I'm doing right now, and you can already open it with your browser, and then you'll see this is my whole little project that I had ready for us to translate it. So in this case, it's in English, so I'll translate it into Spanish. Okay, I can see the translation is done. So I'll scroll all the way down. This is an important step if you're going to use Google Translator, because if your project is quite long, like several slides long, it's important to scroll all the way down to make sure everything is translated before you save it. Then you're gonna save this file. I'm going to add a ES to make sure I remember this is my version in Spanish. Once I've got that, I go back to my account and say, okay, my translation is ready. I'm going to import it. I'll select the one. Okay, now the project is being saved, and since it had all the information of my style and format, what happens is I'm going to see my project right next to the one that was the original one, the translated version. The title is also in Spanish already now. And so when I click here, I'm gonna see it's been fully translated. See this example. All right. So this is the way it works with the translate text option, right? Anyway, I had a little video here for you to see, but since I've shown you already, I'm going to go forward to the automated translation. As I've just told you, this option has become available very recently. How does it work? Basically, you'll go to the advanced options and select the automated translation option. And right after that, sorry, what you'll do is choose the language you want your course to be translated into and just hit the button to request the translation. And so in this case, the translation is automated, it's machine translation made with artificial intelligence, and we're using the services of Azure Document Translator. So basically, your HTML file quickly travels to them and they get it translated in a second and send it back to us, right? What you should know is it's incredibly fast, and going to show you now how it works. Look, you'll go to, I'll do this again, maybe I was too fast, wasn't I? You're in your project, you go to advanced options, translate texts, and this time you're going to see here automated translation. And what you do is select your target language. In this case, I'll choose Brazilian, why not? And request translation. And right now, the process I've just told you about is happening. What I'm going to see once my spinner stops is that another copy of my project has been created, but in the Brazilian language this time. Give that a moment. And it's ready. So I'll just go back to my folder and I have here my new project in Brazilian. The titles of my sections and subsections, if I had more, would be translated as well as these are, and also my content, as you can see, right? So that's it. As fast as that. It just takes a second, as you've noticed, all right? So what we should know also about this is that the available languages are all the ones that you can see in the project configuration section. We have like around 30 languages available already, but just the ones that are actually supported by the Azure services. Okay, remember I've just told you about this. So for example, well, that's something for you to bear in mind. Okay, then what you need to remember about the translations is that these features are part of the advanced options only in the enterprise plans, okay? And you can decide how you want to translate your texts. I mean, choosing one of these two options doesn't mean you should always choose the same one, all right? Maybe once you'll decide to use the translate text option because you have a translation agency you want to send your project to, and maybe in another occasions you just want to use the automated translation option because you have um, something maybe simple to be translated. Why am I saying that exactly? Because regarding tips, remember I told you I was going to share with you some tips. What you should bear in mind every time you translate a project is what is going to be translated. Everything in your project will be translated. This is subtitles, all the contents in your games, in your exercises, and well, basically everything you put in there. But for example, text that is already within an image. If you needed to have text in an image, we'd advise you to use the interactive element image text. So you wouldn't have that problem of getting that image not translated, as you can understand. Also, for example, well, apart from that, you could use maybe galleries or linked images, linked scenes, sorry, different interactive elements that will help you not have that tiny little problem. Also, if you forget about that and you included in your translation images with some text, this is something you should correct in the revision phase. That's important. There's always a proofreading phase after every translation, okay? And definitely, if you know you're creating a course that will be translated into different languages, make sure you keep your cultural references simple, short, and to the minimum. And also bear in mind that translations of pieces of information that include rules and regulations, acts specific to a country or an area are delicate things to be translated, of course. Um, but from that, proofreading, as I've just told you, always has to take place because of the differences between languages, maybe some contents are going to be expressed in more words or more space in one language than another, or in less, and that is going to affect your final look and feel of your slides, definitely. um, for example, maybe the order of some words in some sentences is different in a language than another. And so maybe what you highlighted in one sentence is not exactly the same as what ended up being highlighted in another. So have a review of everything you do. Then if you chose to have an automated translation or use Google Translator, as I've just done, it's a good idea to have your translation reviewed by a professional if you believe that a cultural linguistic revision is necessary, because there might be some errors that are not really taken into account in this type of automated translations. Um, and definitely you want to make sure that you have no differences, as I said before, regarding rules and regulations, right? In any case, as quick as that, the important thing is that what we're helping you to achieve with this isEazy author is have your content translated in a flash without you worrying about the coherence and cohesion of your format and style. We'll just keep it exactly the same. So that until here, up to here, has been my presentation. I hope I have shown you exactly how fast we can do this. And so I'd like you now to maybe share your questions with the rest of us. And so maybe I can answer them, of course. Okay. So somebody earlier was asking, let me see. Yeah, here. We had Visali saying that's the tool Google as an engine for translation. All right. Um, we actually, for the automated translation, we use Azure Document Translator Services, not Google, but you can use Google Translator with the option Translate Text. So you could choose what you'd prefer. Okay. A good idea would be to have both, translate a project for you and compare the results and see which of these options is more accurate. Automated translations, I have to say, is probably more accurate in any case. No problem. Do you have any further questions about these features I was talking to you about? All right. So as you think about that, let me just share with you a tiny little survey for us to learn a little bit more about what you'd like to learn with us in the next webinars, coming up webinars we're going to be sharing with you. This is going to take a minute for you to complete. You may skip questions you don't want to answer, but we'd really encourage you to, so that we can provide you with information that interests you from now on. Takes a millisecond, promise. And in the meantime, if you have more questions, please ask them now. I can see some people are asking a few things. When we're over with the survey, I'll go back and answer them, so we can all benefit from that. All right, just one more minute. In the meantime, let me have a sip of water, and we'll go back to your questions as I've just said. All right, going back to your questions. Somebody is asking now if I can please write the name of the tool. Okay, the services we are using for the automated translation is Azure. Let me see. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. I'm not very sure. I'm typing that. Okay, this is it. But maybe it'll be better if I share with you where in our help center you can find more information about that. Okay, so I'll do that. It's going to be a little bit more, okay, useful for you. So here we have the article on translate text option, and then the one on automated translation. Here is the other article for you to see. All right. And somebody was asking if we can access the recording later. I'm not sure about that, to be honest with you, because uh, maybe we might. Just let me have a look and see how we could do that in any case. Okay, but I'm taking note of your question. This was Sandra, right? Thank you, Sandra. Okay. So any further questions you might have? I know this is very fast. If you try it, you'll see it's just crazy fast how you can get your projects translated and ready to go. Okay, thank you. So I guess if you don't have any further questions and you happen to think about any later on, remember you can always contact us um, by writing an email to help@isEazy.com. There you have the email just in case. And so thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us today. And I hope to see you again in some other webinars that are going to be taking place very soon. Again, thank you very much. Have a great evening.